Subtle energy, vital energy, life force, chi, earth energy. It doesn't really matter what you call it. There is an energy field in which we all live that we can tune into and can use to see life from a completely different perspective. Everybody can have a go. It costs absolutely nothing, and it really can be life-changing. Hello there, my name's Tim Walter. I'm a house healer and an alternative life coach. I'm interested in helping people reach a new level of well-being through a fundamental shift of perception on their lives. To do that, we look at meditation, mindfulness, and dowsing. Now, dowsing is the easiest and most accessible way to start changing the way we see the world. Recently, I talked with my good friend Gary Vasey about just how using dowsing to explore the earth energy in your own home can really help you de-stress in what some regard as these difficult times. Gary has the full conversation about wellness and earth energy on his channel. The conversation includes me trying to encapsulate the possible implications of 100 years of quantum physics in a few short minutes, so that's worth listening to just for its own amusement value. We do get through it. If earth energy as a concept is new to you, have a go at the exercise that we talk about, and if you've heard me talk about the power center of your home before, why not remind yourself by picking up some dowsing rods and reconnecting with that space for your own well-being. Let me know how you get on. Here then is Gary Vasey and I in conversation about de-stressing with earth energy, and do follow the link to hear the whole conversation.
There's a lot of people that are very stressed and a bit confused. And it struck me that there are some things that people can do to address that. Your particular speciality, of course, is house healing. And it struck me that there might be some things that people can do with respect to their own homes and the energy in their homes that would maybe insulate or support them in some way.
I think it really comes back round to actually what we said earlier on, because the biggest thing that made the biggest difference in my life, right, was actually realizing that I could communicate with the subtle energies in my own home. Now, what I mean by that is that we're all surrounded by electromagnetic, geomagnetic fields of energy. We know that the Earth is an electrical source. There's an electrical field that is surrounds the Earth, and we have developed as a species to be part of that. And there are various layers and levels that are involved in that process, right? As us as humanity living within this electrical environment. Now, the thing is that when we start to look at this and use the labels of mysticism and Earth mysteries and this sort of way of looking at life, which is really where I come from, we're talking about using these very ancient processes of communicating with these subtle energy fields, whether they be through personality or simply through the field that is present, as I say, that we live in, right? Now, dowsing is one way for us to do it. It's a very crude way of doing it, but we can access and see results of. I'll come back to how we do this in a second, but we can use dowsing to actually illustrate the way that our physical being is being held, and by us as an entity within this physical body, but also by the electrical field in which we live. Because the dowsing process, and I'll explain this in a second, because at the moment it's going to sound very bizarre. The dowsing process enables us to see symbolically a representation of us looking into the electrical field in which we live, right? Now, the electrical field in which we live is commonly known as earth energy, right? That's the dowser's term for it, and perhaps it's the other mystical workers' name for it as well. But it's a very broad category because it basically is, wherever it developed, wherever it started from, earth energy, it was a name for something that nobody understood what it was. But it's an electrical field, right? Now, within earth energy, there's all sorts of different layers, and we access the different layers basically through the use of our bodies, in determining what it is that we're searching for. So we're kind of going along the dial of a radio saying, do I want to tune into that? 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 And that is how you access the different layers within earth energy. And earth energy is absolutely everywhere. People have heard of ley lines, people have heard of earth energy lines, and I know you've been searching some, and we'll talk about those in a minute, I guess. But earth energy is basically absolutely everywhere. What you're finding when you find an earth energy line, or what some people call ley lines, is a concentrated amount of it, right? So a different peak of flow. Now, if you've got a set of dowsing rods are easier to use than a pendulum. So use a set of dowsing rods. You can make your own simple, coat hanger. Cut it in half, bend it, right angles, one in each hand. You can ask to be shown the most powerful and positive earth energy center in your home. Now, when we say center, we're thinking vortex, spiral, okay? And you'll be shown, you can follow it. You follow the rods around your apartment or your house, and you'll come to a room and you'll find a lovely spiral, and you can douse that spiral. You just get your rods out and you tune into that, and there it is, and you follow it. Wonderful. Now, why is that important? Because it's important because this is the vital energy. This electrical field, this earth energy in which we live, is a vital energy. It's the life-giving energy in which we function. It is also the transport mechanism for information from other realms, right? Subtle realms. I'm not going to go into too much detail there. But basically, if you find that power center and you are chilled enough, in that meditative state sufficiently, you can ask for some very simple responses from that electrical field. And in a way, what you're doing is you're actually asking a response from the universe to your own presence. I mean, given that we are also part of the universe, it's the universe reflecting on itself. And what you can do is ask, the basic shapes that you'll find are the infinity symbol, the figure of 8. And you'll be shown one, right? You just follow it, you just ask for it, and you rod will point, and you find the end of it, and you follow it. And you'll see that figure of 8. And then calm, accept that that is there. And then you can ask and be shown another one. You will be shown another one. It will sit at right angles to that first one. And if you're once you've got the practice of that and you believe in what you're finding, and that's one of the crucial things here, is because you can't make the progress along the path to finding this different way of seeing the world unless you trust and have faith that you are being shown something of significance. Then you get to a stage where these lovely infinity symbols, you actually find them pulsing, and they pulse with such regularity. It's actually a beautiful experience just to tune into this, and you feel it. Dowsing is not about watching what the rod does. Dowsing is about what you feel and where you go to within the inner universe that then is reflected out into that environment that you're immediately in. Now, why is that important? Well, that's important because that starts to build up your confidence, right? And the more you meditate at that place, that power center that you found, because meditation is the absolutely fundamental key to all of this work. The more you meditate there, the more you are opening up the channels to these subtle realms. And these are the subtle realms that enable you to be influenced and therefore change your perspective on life. And not only that, to also experience life completely differently, because you're activating your ability and your power as a co-creative force to change this, because this is not fixed. This is completely malleable. Okay. This is not, physical form is utterly malleable. And changes moment by moment. We know that, right? So the more you meditate with these lovely infinity symbols, they're known officially as lemniscate. One is known as a lemniscate of Bernoulli, named after the mathematician in the 17th century or something like that, who discovered it. Anyway, the more you meditate with it, the more you get in tune with it, and the more you are then able to discover more and more sacred symbolism within it. And one of the most fascinating things that is there for you and waiting for you is to actually discover the Earth's response to you in this electrical field. And that is shown to you as a shape that will actually have 5 points to it, right? So we might call that a 5-pointed star, or we might call that a pentagram. And people, as soon as you mention the word pentagram, people go, "Oh my God, You're working with the devil. No, we're not. What we're working with is actually something that's fundamental to humanity. That is our relationship to the physical earth on which we live and have been a part of and are a part of. When you first find that five-pointed star, the chances are it won't be a lovely symmetrical five-pointed star. It'll be a really stressed looking, bizarre shape that is nothing like a five-pointed star. But the more you work on yourself, and this is not necessarily a long-term process, the more you work on yourself to actually find the peace and the truth of who you are, what you'll find is as you douse and continue to douse that five-pointed star, it will actually change over days, weeks maybe, and become a super wonderful, symmetrical, geometric five-pointed star. And what that says is you're in balance. Earth, air, fire, water, spirit, 5 points. Each of those are represented by one of those points.
Right.
And that is a very fundamental process, which actually, the shamans of the world have been doing and have known about for eons. And what it does is actually allows you to connect with your true self because you're simply of the earth.
Sounds exactly what I would expect. Great stuff.